so I'm waiting. Here's where we stand right this moment. Now, by the time you watch this moment, 9/6/2021 at 7:24 could be way in the past. Could be a few hours, a day, 2 days, 10 years. That's what's interesting about YouTube.
I just delivered my Home Depot in Salem. Everything went really smooth. That's funny. I can't remember all the thousands of places I've been to, but what happens is when I go to a place after I get there, I remember visual things. Like I remember when I turned in here, I remember the Amazon distribution center, and this was around the corner. I've probably only been here once or twice. But anyway, I just delivered this about 12:47 or 12:30ish. They did have an empty, and when I arrived at Consignee and my empty call, and I'm officially headed to the Portland/Fairview yard. And I can't tell you exactly what the mileage is, and I know exactly how to get there. Actually, it's pretty simple. You just go all the way. Well, it depends on how you want to go. But you go all the way up Highway 5, Interstate 5, until you get up to the Portland area. And it's out to 84, Interstate 84, and just up the highway a few miles. And I didn't necessarily have to take an empty, but I'm taking one just because I can drop it off there in case another driver needs it. And then I'm picking up a T-call or a relay trailer, and I'm taking it up to Fife, F-I-F-E, Washington. And that doesn't have to be delivered. You can be delivered anytime today, which is Saturday, or tomorrow, Sunday.
Back. Okay, so I'm waiting. Here's where we stand right this moment. Now, by the time you watch this moment, 9/6/2021 at 7:24 could be way in the past. Could be a few hours, a day, 2 days, 10 years. That's what's interesting about YouTube. But in this moment, on my day right now, I have done about 40 hours of my 34-hour reset. I have a fresh 70-hour clock. I'm either going to do one of two things. Erica said she's going to call me back with a new pre-plan that's better than the current one I have, which it won't be much to be better, because all I'm doing is I'm about 10 miles or so from the Portland Fairview yard where the other driver's bringing this loaded trailer. We call that a T-call or relay, okay? If she doesn't have any better freight, which on Saturday when I delivered my Salem load, Jacob, who was working the phones on the weekend, who's a regular dispatcher, they take turns. Even Madeline, they have a rotation where Madeline's on the phone too. But he said, at first when I called him and said, hey, Jacob, I'm not dispatched. I dropped off in Salem. I'm not dispatched. He goes, well, I can't dispatch you until the load is T-called in Portland. Okay. Then he checked on where the driver was. He said, I wouldn't recommend waiting for him because he's way in like desert something in California. He was like in the desert in California. Then he came back a few minutes later and called me and said, Doug, I just checked with Washington planners and there's like 27 trucks. There's no freight in Washington. So at this point in time, the best option is to wait for that driver, even though he's in California. And so I've been waiting 40 hours. And I did the positive. I did a reset, so I'm reset again. I made a lot of videos. I rested up. I recharged my batteries. It's all good. You have to go with the flow. You have to go with the flow when you're a truck driver. If you're a grasshopper truck driver, you might get all uptight. Oh my God, I'm sitting. What's going on? This company is horrible. I'm not paid to sit. I'm not getting paid for this. But I just, it is what it is. Now, you can push it sometimes. I just don't do it. You can say, oh, I demand to get some layover pay. This is ridiculous. So sometimes if you push it, I don't. You can get like $75 a day or something for layover, chop pay and stuff like that. But I don't push it. So she could come back with something that's better. Now, it could, in the realm of possibility, which has happened, could be a load that is ready today. I've got my empty. That goes all the way back to California, and I go pick it up, and I'm rolling to California, and we're good to go. But the worst case, I'll go to the yard, pick up this load, deliver it up Fife, Washington, where there's potentially no freight, and I might be sitting a little while. Now, this never happens. Two things that almost never happen. Number one, I had all the time in the world to deliver this load. You know, it's the 6th. I had till the 8th, which is 2 more days from now. Tomorrow's the 7th and 8th, which I thought was way, but as it turned out, because there's no freight, I could have delivered it, you know, tomorrow and taken my time, and it would have been okay, you know. So that's why I'm making this video, whatever you want to call it. And I do it anyway, okay? For those of you that don't know my background, which is all 6 billion people on the planet, except for my mother and father. Mike for sure knows about this because he's watching some of my videos, or all of them, I don't know how much. And Yuki and Yumi and a handful of you that are watching I think I have 10 subscribers last time I checked, 10. I've been doing this project now with Mike for, tomorrow will be 3 months, and I have 10 subscribers, and we're just starting on this 4-month. We renegotiated to a new agreement that's less than, I'm paying Mike less than what I just paid him for 90 days to complete this next 4 months, September, October, November, December, to help me out to kind of put a bow on this, to wrap it up. And we had a Zoom call when I was picking up this previous load going to Salem, while I was loading, where one of the things I talked to Mike about, I mentioned this in this other 30-minute video, I'm just kind of being redundant, but Mike, and it was cool, he had a graph they showed me on the Zoom call of a point by point by point by point thing, and he just recently redesigned the logo. I actually like the new logo. And the bottom line is, you know, I'm paying Mike obviously to do stuff that either I don't know how to do, or so at the end of this 4 months it's gonna, you know, go on, whether Mike's participating or not, that this channel will be further along than if I try to do it myself. Okay, that's the whole idea of duplication or collaboration or paying someone to do something, right? You're paying them so that at the end of XYZ or whatever, you're further along than you would be if you did it on your own. You know, there has to be some value exchange. Okay, jumping on board. Okay, I just made an audio recording just for the heck of it. Starting up the truck, 135 out. Just stopped here. Again, I've said this over and over again. I don't really consider this work. To me, it's fun. So, they might be closed up, who knows? But anyway, I'm gonna get back in my truck and motor on down the highway. But I almost always stop here just for a quick break, stretch my legs out, get some coffee, and hit the road again. Just stopping to get a cup of coffee at this place, because after this, there's not too many places. Until we get to this one place, there's a Dairy Queen, there's a little tiny town with a shopping center, and then you keep going. There's gonna be a lake, really beautiful lake that we go by, and we eventually hit Eugene, Oregon, on 5. That's where we're gonna go through, and then we're on the interstate. We're on the interstate. 5. Stay tuned. Where I just walked in to get a cup of coffee, right there. However, I will say, if you or anyone decided to drive a truck, just like anything, you have to go through what I call the grasshopper stage. You know, what is the grasshopper stage? It's like the first day on the job. It's like when you have to admit you may have done any other number of things. You could be a surgeon, a doctor, a lawyer, You could have a gazillion degrees and be, well, I was a successful massage therapist, But it's like anything. Oops, my camera just went sideways. Sorry, I put my charger on it. So you have to start from zero, and everybody starts out the same place. I did. I started with CRST. I only had 10 days of truck driving school. When I completed truck driving school, I had only been behind the wheel about an hour and a half. When I got my CDL, I had not hooked up a trailer, had not fueled, I didn't really know about backing. I was at ground zero, 12 years ago. I'm not saying I'm some type of super trucker now, but I'm gonna go forward. I don't like backing up where I don't know where I'm backing up into. So since there's nobody here at this business, I'm going to go forward here. And I'm eating up storage on this phone. And I'm going to take this off so it's not leaning. Okay. So my point is, I started out as a grasshopper too. And I still consider myself a grasshopper because it's all relative. I've been driving 12 years, and there's drivers that have been driving 20, 25, 30, 40. But I think, honestly, once you get to the point you've been driving, I would say 5 years or longer, you kind of, I felt like I was in the groove. I'm kind of have to be really careful as it comes a truck. He's coming off the highway. I'm extra careful because people should be going slower through this town, but they don't often. Slower. Here we go. I'm going. It's clear.
Airman on-duty status has changed to drive.
Anyway, my point with this driving to Tokyo thing, one of the ideas I had was to use the channel to, you could say technically I'm recruiting drivers to night transportation. In some circles, and this is something, I struggled with a little bit because I don't like to ever feel like I'm doing anything just for money. I'm a slave to money. And so when I thought of recruiting, it's a little bit like what you have to get over when you're network marketing or something where you're actually getting money for sales of some kind. But the truth is, I was just talking, I don't know if it's Mike or whomever, the trucking industry has constant turnover. There's some people that get involved and they just end up doing over the road for a couple years and then they go to local, or they do it a couple years and they save some money and then they end up getting married and they decide to just do a regular thing and they have their CDL or they keep it. Any number of things happens, but the truth is logistics and night transportation and all the whole entire industry, there's some basic things that are happening. One is, no matter how big the company is, Night apparently is the biggest company in North America, they have to sell freight and they have to, there's planners and market managers and all the corporate people and all the people that do this and do that and all that. But then ultimately they have to have drivers doing exactly what I'm doing right now because they sell the freight. I don't even know how they'll keep it going. Someone said that Night now had 29,000 trucks. The earlier video said they had 5,000 trucks. It said that they do 1 million miles a day. But regardless, like I was coming into Salem, they had to figure out what I was doing next. And I'm just one of thousands of trucks and they have to keep it going. But they have to have drivers to drive the trucks. I'm currently on right now, actually, usually there's never a window this big. This is huge. In fact, I knew that when I left Phoenix. A deadhead from Phoenix to Kingman, picked us up in Kingman. And I had till the 8th, which is 4 more days. And, I'll have just delivered in 48 minutes, 50 minutes, something like that. And then I have what's almost considered a local, but not quite. I'm deadheading. Now, at Home Depot, the good news is if they don't have an empty, all I have to do is get cleared with dispatch, which I'm sure would be okay, because I have a loaded trailer that's in our Portland yard, which means it's not a regular shipper's, so I don't have to have an empty, is my point. So I could, if I really have to, I just bobtail, which means I'm just driving my truck by itself without a trailer. That's what bobtail is. To the Fairview Portland yard, which I've been to a gazillion times. So when I get there, I just do arrived at shipper like I would anywhere, even though it's a yard. Now find the trailer, hook up to it, do my loaded call that I'm loaded, and then I'm basically ready to go and drive up to Fife, which is Tacoma area. I don't know what the exact mileage is. I have to look at it, but I'll be going through Vancouver, Washington, and all those places all the way up there. And then Fife is basically a Tacoma area. Then I'll be delivering there. That doesn't even have to be delivered. It can be delivered today or tomorrow. So the point is there's leisurely weekend, which I'm cool with. That's why I'm stopping to do a little filming, because I'm under a lot of time pressure. This load doesn't have to be delivered until 4 days from now. So I've got 48 minutes, and then I have leisurely time to get up to the yard to pick up the next load. It doesn't have to be delivered till tomorrow, and I'll probably deliver it. See, I can double actually check on my clock right here. Hold on.
And so they have to constantly be recruiting and training new drivers. Not just Knight, but every single company has to do that. It's a reality, So what every company does is they pay. If you do recruit someone, whether a student or a rehire or someone, that's not happy with where they're at, they're coming overnight to give it a try, as an added income, they don't have to do it, but they pay you money to do it. And in my opinion, I love it. Now, I love working for Knight. I've been here 9 years. I can't imagine going anywhere else. So I don't feel bad about telling others about it, and especially with what I'm doing, the way I'm doing it, the way I envision I could do it, the way I envision I see potentially that may go. And if they're going to give me money, I'm not going to say, no, thank you. I don't really need the money. I'm just doing this, because I love Knight and I love truck driving. If they don't, no, you deserve to have the money. My friend Robert actually got some money for recruiting someone to one of his companies. So what he did is he gave the money to the people he recruited, or he split the money, or you could do whatever you want with the money. I could take the money and put it right back into this, because frankly, right now, this whole project costs me money. The amount of money I've invested in this project just in the first few months, I could have gone to Japan for three times. It's the equivalent of the money I'd spend going to Japan 3 1-month trips. In other words, I'm taking money that if I didn't do this project and I just drove like I'm driving now, which I could do anyway, and Mike wasn't in the picture, and I just basically, and I'm just shooting videos, and maybe somehow or another I figured out how to download videos to YouTube, and I just figured I'd just do like my regular Doug Werman channel. The money I've invested just in this project, I could go to Japan 3 times. So I'm taking money I would normally be able to use to go to Japan, which is kind of weird, because the whole thing is driving to Tokyo, and a big part of it, an equal part of it at least, is the Tokyo part, the Japan part, which does cost me money. So it's a little bit counterintuitive in a way to do what I'm doing, because there's absolutely no guarantee that this channel is going to be monetized. I even thought about it in another way. Okay, so I might chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I might be really weird, but I also have a practical side. So the practical side told me this. The money I invested so far, I would have to recruit. This is collision warning. There's nothing in front of me. Okay, there's gonna be a bridge we go through. But anyway, back to the point. the reality, this is the reality, the cold hard reality, okay, is right now, when Mike and I complete this next 4 months, which would be September, October, November, December, and we'd say, I told Mike this isn't sustainable long term, and he said, well, don't worry, I'm trying to get you up to speed so you kind of can do things on your own. The reality, to break even, I would have to recruit 20 students, 20 people out in cyberspace that decide to get involved with night transportation and watching my videos. 20. You know, within, I guess you could be real technical and say 20 students within the time that I'm driving a truck. You know, or whether it's, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then I break even. You know, so the point I'm making is, on a logical plane, on a certain level, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, some people, my parents might say it's stupid. I'm just being real with you. My parents felt like I was stupid going to being in Empower Network, going to events every 3 or 4 months while I was flying, paying for airfare, my travel expenses, lost wages from work, and I went to, I can't tell you how many events with Express with Empower Network, and I never made enough money where I paid back the money I invested in the travel, in the business. Okay, so from my parents' standpoint, they finally talked me into, the bottom line is, with Empower Network, what happened is, I tried to tell them, I don't care if I make money, because the intangibles of going to the events, making the friends I did, learning what I'd learned. And I tried to explain them this way, that people spend $35,000 or whatever to go to college to learn something that maybe they don't even use, and maybe they end up with a job that doesn't pay really well, and that was almost kind of a waste of time. Or they did it for social reasons or whatever. And I said that I don't have any friends on the road. I'm solo. I drive alone. And the value I get from the friends and the experiences of going, it's like taking a vacation every 3 or 4 months, like going to Japan every 3 or 4 months. And they just didn't get it. They thought I was going in debt. So it was causing my parents so much anxiety. I just finally told my parents, I'm going to quit. I will not go. I'm not going to go to Empower events anymore. And I did that because it was causing too much. They just couldn't get it. Okay. So, frankly, if I told them what I'm doing, I kind of told my mom and dad, we're at 5,000 feet elevation, that I had this channel, but I haven't told them I've actually invested money to build something. I've kind of hinted at that. But my point right now is, in all the study I've done with all successful people like Stephen Jobs and all kinds of people that have been successful, they've done things that seem that it didn't make logical sense, and they failed at it. Just read about the owner and founder of Starbucks. Read about it, how he started and what he went through to actually end up buying out the people that originally started Starbucks. You have to be willing to fail forward and go against the grain if you're going to be successful and do something completely new. Eugene, 70 miles. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. Okay. So, I'm one of the weird ones. I'm weirdo. Yeah, my driver ID, it might sound funny. I'm so weird. The universe has such a funny sense of humor that my driver ID is weirdo without the R. That's my driver ID. My driver ID is like weirdo, like one of the weird ones, without the R. Because we have a driver ID. It's not a number. It's a letter. That when
whenever we do stuff, I call and I have to go. Well, I don't actually. I give them my truck number, but sometimes they'll ask, "What's your driver ID?" So it's like, like we're done, like Agent 007. So here we go. Here, stay back. How many? I'm 2.9. Now I got 3.2 seconds back. I gotta put the tape brake on. Stay back. Stay back. Anyway, so this is just one morning with me. Now, Mike is talking about riding with me for a few days. I don't know when that's going to happen, to be honest with you. He's missing out right now. The dude is missing out. If he waits till after this project is over, you won't be able to experience it right now. You can't. Here's the deal. Okay. I think there's certain things you can't put off, and there's a level of you can't just simply be getting ready to get ready. We're gonna get ready to get ready, man. We have to really get everything perfectly set up. We gotta get ready. We gotta get everything done before we're gonna do that. So, I understand. Mike wants to make sure he's got it all planned. He's got the right cameras. We know exactly where we're going, what we're doing, and then we'll do this thing. Well, I honestly thought we were going to do it last time because Mike said that they were going to be in Arizona. So I'm cool with it. We didn't do it last time, so I'm hoping we can do it maybe within this next 4 months, but that may not happen. Could roll into next spring. And how many loads will I have done? That's a mystery. How many? It's kind of a weird thing. So in the meantime, I'm solo out here talking to myself on the camera. Then what I do is I take these videos. I make them into something. Oh, wow, look at all these cars. They're going to start passing. Oh, there it goes. It's part of the job. People driving like four-wheelers, driving like their hair's on fire. They're like, so here we are, we're at the Indy 500. There's a truck. Oh my God, we gotta pass them. We're slowing down. What the heck? Oh my God. Oh my God. Here, there's a passing lane coming up, so that's okay. Move over, truck. It's a passing lane, dude. He's not moving over. I don't know what he's thinking. Now he's moving over. And the car almost... See that? He started moving over, and then the car started passing along the right. He should have been moved over as soon as he hit the passing lane. But anyway, it's interesting out here. It's never the same, but it's always the same. Here we go. This is gonna go down to one. There's I can't believe the van actually took my road. He went behind me instead of trying to pass me on the left. Smart. And there's a few people out here that are driving that are actually thinking about safety and not getting in a head-on collision overpassing me on the left. But anyway, what I have to do now, just even with what I've done this morning, is when I stop today, I have to take this footage and make it into something. And then I'd have to save it to Photo Library, and then I send it over to YouTube, and then I have to download it, and then it's finally done. And then I still have a lot of videos there. It has to put thumbnail and text on it, but there's a lot of videos without the thumbnail and text on now. So I'm going to probably have to learn how to do that. So when Mike's doing it, I'm doing it too, because the videos are kind of piling up. If I do 3 videos a day in a month, that's 90 videos. And
frankly, I don't think Mike's going to low clearance on shoulder 13.8. This is the bridge that's a little scary going through in the truck. But the point is, I don't know if Mike is going to do more than one a day. And if I do 90, that's only 30. So there'd be 60 potential videos that don't have thumbnails on and titles. And I don't know if I can do that. So they might have to go into some type of surplus storage area. The Driving to Tokyo surplus video storage area for future episodes. You know, so there's going to come a point very quickly that I will be really far ahead in the game, I guess, with video production. Or before with the Video Matrix, I was struggling just to do 1 5-minute video. Now this is the scary part. This tunnel and the clearance, 13.6 on the trailer, it's at 13.8 on the shoulder. So that's a 2-inch. Fortunately, no cars came, so we made it. So anyway, I'm gonna close this out. Again, this is 20 minutes. I'm eating up my storage, and I don't think I want to videotape anymore until I stop and make something. Now, I mentioned this in another other video. I've done a lot of personal development, and one of the things that I've been mentored on and studied is goal setting, vision planning, team building, okay, and some basic things. Now I'm going from geography to, while I'm waiting for Erica. As soon as she calls, I may have to catch the phone call. Okay. Here's what you want to do, and this is, I'm kind of talking to Mike too. I'm kind of like having a one-way Zoom conversation, dude. Let me give you my input, okay, that I've had over the weekend, dude. Okay. Now, Wayne Dyer, people like Wayne Dyer says, you know, you shouldn't even have written goals. You shouldn't have goals, because when you have goals and you have written goals, it sets up let down, you know, unfulfilled expectations, which can lead to depression or anxiety, or like, man, I didn't hit my goal. So his opinion, if you don't have goals at all, you're not going to have those negative emotions, because you don't like not hit your goals, so then you're not upset, you know what I mean? Then there's the other people that say, no, if you don't have a written specific plan, you know, and you're just kind of leading a bumper car life where you're just moving and reacting and moving and reacting and moving along, you don't know where you're going, you're just, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm just going to let God guide me, God's will. I'm a grasshopper. I don't have any control. I'm just going to let God guide me. And I'm just going to be, God, help me, tell me, give me signs. And that's one way of going. You know, I've done that before. Many of you may already do that. Like this friend, you wake up in the morning, you don't have any plan at all, but God's plan. Okay, that's one way. There's other ways too. Okay, one way is, I think it's, and you have to find your own map, okay? I have found for me, maybe not for you, maybe not even for Mike. Mike, I totally disagree with this. It's not my way. Well, that's cool, brother. But here's kind of what I feel is a healthy way of doing things. Along the lines of Mike mapping out his plan, this is the high expectations. This is like what we're aiming for, okay? Because, you know, they say, Brian Tracy talks about the law of expectation. You get what you expect, right? So if you have high expectations, you'll come up with high ideas and game plans and strategy to hit that mark. You go from the end, that's the end game, and you work backwards to the present, okay? And that has some validity. And you map out your strategy, your action plan, and all the things, you know, in the realm of possibilities, so that realistically it looks like if I do, we're going to get there. No problem. No question about it. No doubt. Okay. But then, yeah, I think it's still healthy to have a low bar.
Okay, and which means you could hit the high expectations or even beyond. Like we went for this, and man, we got the end of this 90 days, and we end up having 10,000 students sign up. You know, it's just unbelievable. I had to call Madeline and say, Madeline, I got a little problem. My website really took off, you know. I've got 10,000 students that want to go into Squire. What do I do? You know, how do we do this? Do we have enough trainers, enough trucks? I mean, I wasn't expecting this to just happen. What do I do? You know, that could be like that, but I probably not. Okay, that's probably unrealistic. Okay, and then if you have a base thing, this is kind of where I'm coming from now. Okay, a base thing. It doesn't mean that you're skeptical, you're negative, or your limiting beliefs get the best of you, etc., etc. I kind of talked about this last video, which I'm still maybe going to record because I really zone into that. But I've been looking over the weekend because I had time to look, you know, and think and chant no bill go okay. And what I've had to ask myself is, why am I doing this? Why? What's the why? If you take care of the why, the how-tos will take care of themselves. Why? Why am I doing this? Okay, I get that. The way to monetize is I get paid when I recruit people into Night. I believe in Night. I love Night. I have a plan. I saved $37,000 last year. I went to Japan 5 times in 2 years. I got a way of living with a minimalist lifestyle. I think it's totally cool. If I turn it on to someone, I really think I'm giving them something of value. And if Night Transportation pays me something for it that's not coming out of their pocket, it's just a kind of added bonus, I'm cool with that. But I'm also cool with the simple fact that my medical card, my new one I have to do in January, which will buy 2 more years of driving. I'm still doing my job. Okay, I haven't documented my truck driving the last 12 years very much. If you look at Doug Werma channel, there's not a whole lot. And I did the Video Matrix challenge. I was doing a video every day. So if all I do with Mike's help is to get caught up with learning how to do thumbnail and, you know, art and stuff on my videos that I create every day. If all I learn to do is to take some of my Facebook videos and be able to transfer them to iMovie, that's cool. If all I do is I learn how to take YouTube videos and bring it over to iMovie, that's cool. If all I do is learn how to make those solid graphs on the video where I can put text, so as you're watching the video, you can read, you know, get a sense of what's coming up next, that would be cool. You know, just my point is a few basic to-do things to be independent so Mike doesn't have to do them. And then I can create videos at my own pace, whether they're 3 a day, 4 a day, 10 a day. Because 3 a day, here's the bottom line. And I've been doing this. 3 videos a day is 90 a month. Times 4 is like, what, 300 or 400 videos. Each one being individually different. Each one being hopefully compelling, fun to watch. That I'm being consistent in doing with multiple, I'm talking about geography, I'm talking about training, I'm talking about Japan, I'm talking about how I'm going to get back to Japan, I'm talking about my story, I'm talking about the overlap and the karmic connections with where I am today with Denver 13 years ago, 20 years ago, talking about life philosophy, a whole bunch of things. I have 4 months to kind of have a variety of things, and I'm downloading these with the idea that there's a possibility nobody even watches these things. Or they, like Christine, they watch them, now I'm not really interested in this, and they turn it off, And that's all I'm doing is just enjoying the process. No money, no recruiting, it doesn't lead to collaboration with Night where they want me to do videos for training and recruiting. Some of those higher bar expectations never happen. I've been trying to meet with Madeline now for a long time. We still haven't even got together for a cup of coffee. So what I've learned is when it pertains to other people and things happening that I think could happen, but they still haven't happened. I'm not God, you know. They say sometimes with the law of attraction and stuff, you can visualize, affirm, even with some people with the SGI community, with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, have said, in Herbie Hancock chanted Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho, to win the jazz album of the year, and he chanted for it, visualized it, affirmed it, visualized it, and it happened. But also, Herbie Hancock had the talent, he had the money, he had the resources. He's done stuff like that, so he had a track record. But he did use Nam Myoho Renge Kyo to hone in on that, and he achieved it. Okay, he achieved it. So I'm going to use Nam Myoho Renge Kyo just as an experiment and talk about it. I'm chanting for XYZ to happen. I'm taking these actions because, after all, it's driving to Tokyo, high performance team, right? Empowered by Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. So if it's empowered by Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, I have to test it out before I take on other grasshoppers, right? I can't be teaching something that doesn't work, right? So I have to test the waters. I'm the first member, unless Mike comes on board and goes through Squire, decides that he wants to ride in the truck and he wants to, oh man, let's do this thing, brother. Hey, I'll be your first high performance driver. I never thought this was going to happen, but dude, let's party on. You know, that could happen. But right now, I'm the main dude, you know. I'm the camera person, the driver, the editor, the author. And we also, you know, we have the ebook. I think the ebook has a lot of possibilities too. Still waiting for Erica to call me. Okay. Ebook. Now, here's why I think it has possibilities. I have to take a tablet out and map this out, but I could go chapter by 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 chapter, all the way down from the beginning chapter to the end, table of contents, all in text and video form, to create an ebook called Driving to Tokyo. You know, it could be based on what I know right now and in the past. Obviously, I can't write about the future. I can write about what the potential future, but I could be doing a series of ebooks, starting with right now, on top of this video, including kind of like combined with this video and the channel. There's just so many possibilities, but the point is, I have to focus on the things I can do realistically, no questions, that I have control over. Okay, that's what I have to focus on. Are you with me? Okay. Now, this is all I'm going to say for right now. I'm going to close this out, and I may kind of mix some stuff around this base video. This is like the base soup, you know, today. This is Doug. Let's just look flashback. Let's go. And because I might have 4 more hours to sit here, 3 more hours before I go to Portland. So let's make it happen. So again, this is Doug, Portland, Colorado. Maybe these are Portland, Colorado. Portland, Oregon. September 6th, sometime in the early morning, like 7:30.